Self-love is the new sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts, and I want to say a big hello and thank you to all of my first-time listeners as well as all of my returning listeners. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And you know how I like to do it, or if you don't know, I like to get right into things. And tonight's episode, I think, will be fairly quick, but I do want to address a couple questions that I've received recently. And those questions have basically been centered around the thought or the idea is just how do we end up in a place where we are deficient as far as self-love goes, where we're not as loving of ourselves as we could and should be. And it's a very valid question. It's something that I've worked through and tried to understand. So I just want to talk on that for a few moments tonight, and then also introduce a couple of concepts that we may build on as the podcast, as the first season of this podcast goes on. So just to address that question is, how do we find ourselves in this place where we are self-love deficient, or where we really need to work on that aspect of our life? Well, it basically is something that we've attracted into our lives, or that we've kind of fostered in many ways. So what happens is our mind is a very powerful thing, and our mind works pretty much like a computer. Computers are actually a derivative of how our mind works. So every computer runs on some type of software that controls how it works and what you're able to do on that computer. And your mind is very much the same. And what happens is, the first concept I want to mention is just the law of attraction, which I've alluded to a moment ago. Is the thing, and the law of attraction is very basic and simple in its principle, and you can find information on it all around the internet. So you feel free to go surf and look it up and get more details, because I'll be real brief here. But the law of attraction in a nutshell means like attracts like. So whatever you're thinking and feeling consistently and with a lot of emotion, you are tending to attract into your life. So that's the first concept. Now, how do you if you're attracting situations in your life that you don't want, then how are you attracting it? Well, you're attracting it because in many cases, dating back to your childhood, and sometimes in some cases beyond that, and in regards to your current environment, we pick up energies, we pick up thought patterns. People tell us that we're unworthy, or they don't accept us the way we would like to be accepted, or they don't love us the way that we think we should be loved, and they say mean things to us. We start to believe those things, and our mind works much like a computer. It's a recording computer. So it's recording everything that we're taking in, especially in those formative years. That we're recording, the mind just automatically records everything, and where it stores it is the second concept that I want to mention tonight, is in our subconscious mind. So there's really two aspects of our mind. It's the subconscious and the conscious. The conscious mind are the thoughts that we actually think on a daily basis, which is roughly about, depending on which scientist you listen to or you subscribe to, which is roughly anywhere from as little as 1 to as much as 10% of our overall thoughts. Now, the subconscious mind, which is the bear of the two, controls anywhere from depending on who you listen to, 99 to anywhere from 90 to 99% of our thoughts every day. And the subconscious thoughts are all automatic. For example, if you drive and you drive anywhere consistently, how often do you recognize that you have to think about where you're going? So for those of us who have a job and you go to your job every day, literally virtually the same way, how often do you actually think about every step it takes to get you to work every day and home? If you think about it, not very much, right? In the beginning, if you don't know where you're going, you think about it a lot. But after you've done it a couple weeks or so, your subconscious mind pretty much takes over that process. It remembers what you're doing. It takes, it keeps track of exactly what you're doing and where you're going. And so it starts to become automatic. And your subconscious works that way consistently. Every day, it's automatically doing those things that it's familiar with, that you normally do. And it's all about saving you time from having to really think about that, right? So if the subconscious is running your life, basically, and you've allowed negative things to infiltrate your subconscious, then your subconscious is playing this information in the background all day, every day. And when it's doing that, what happens is it tends to attract those thoughts, those similar people, same type events, anything that is similar to what's playing on your subconscious mind, you tend to attract into your life. Now, that manifests in negative thoughts and beliefs about yourself and about life in general. And it fosters an environment where you will be less loving to yourself simply because those negative tracks are playing in your subconscious mind over and over and over again. And that's how we grow up where we don't necessarily value ourselves as much as we could. We don't take care of ourselves as well as we could. And we have become ingrained, and we really, on a subconscious level, subscribe to a lot of the things that we grew up hearing and being a part of in our life.
We hope you're enjoying today's show. If so, please take a moment to show your support for the show by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. If you have questions for W. Mark Watts, please feel free to contact him over at wmarkwatts.com, on Instagram at wmarkwatts, or on Facebook at Self-Love is the New Sexy.
And so here is the flip side. The flip side is, of course, having that knowledge. Now we have to reverse that. And how do you reverse it? Well, of course, we've got to start to change the programming in our subconscious mind. Because even though with that 10% or that small percentage of the conscious mind that we're using, like thoughts like, okay, I'm going to record this podcast today. That's not an automatic thought in my subconscious right now, because that's different. It's a different process. I'm doing different material every night. So I have to consciously think about that. So that is not an automated process. So I have to really think about it. And that conscious part is how we have to start. We have to really use our conscious mind to start to reprogram the subconscious mind. And the way you reprogram the subconscious mind is you have to do the exact same thing that it's been doing already. And you have to use the way it works to your advantage. You have to give it the thoughts and place it in an environment and be around people who are positive and encouraging. You have to feed it really good stuff consistently so that the subconscious mind starts to pick up, hey, this person is really being nice to him or herself. This person is around great people who are saying positive things. She's reading books that are encouraging, that are fun. She's laughing a lot. She's doing things that really get her excited and make her happy. And your subconscious starts to store all that information. And so now as that information starts to take over the things that are already there, they become, the old data starts to get pushed to the side, and the new data that you're putting in starts to take the forefront. And now, as you increase your vibration and your emotional attachment to those great things, those good things, your life, just again, by the law of attraction, you start to attract more of those things in your life, more of those good things, more of those people, more of those positive events, more of those things that are in line with who you are and what you want to feel and what you're focusing on each and every day. So that's one way that you start to reprogram your subconscious mind, so that 90% of automatic thoughts and that automatic attraction that's going on without you ever really doing anything to it, that tape, that computer, your mental computer, your mind is constantly working to bring those things that you want into your life. And, I can testify to that on many different occasions, and you can testify to that too if you look back at your life, because it's not an all or nothing thing. You've had instances and you've had times, and often probably many of them, where you have resonated in the positive, where you have received things that have really been what you wanted in your life. And the chances are that you attracted some of those things in your life because you were thinking positively, you were working hard, you may have been studying, you would put that stuff out there. You've programmed your mind to look for things that were connected to what your thoughts were and your wishes and your desires were, and it showed up for you. So you've done it. It's just now we got to make it a more consistent practice, and we've got to do it more on purpose, because we're after bigger goals now. We're after really making this our norm. We want to become really conscious of the thoughts that we're having, the company that we keep, the goals that we want to achieve, how happy and joyful and blissful we want to be each and every day. We want to consciously make that our main objectives every day, so that then subconsciously it becomes our main objectives every day. And then outwardly, it becomes our main attraction. Those types of things are attracted to us because that's where we're living. That's where we're thinking. That's where we're dreaming. That's who we are. And we get more of who we are. And so when you can become that super loving, super blissful, super happy person consistently, you will start to attract more of those like things consistently into your life each and every day. And again, that's the ultimate goal, is to really get there. So the takeaway from today's show is to just be aware that our subconscious is pretty much running our lives. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we can control it. Even though it's automatic and we can't control that aspect of it, we can control what's written in that computer program called our mind that contributes, or that is the source that the subconscious uses. So, and the way we do that is we have to feed it the thoughts, the ideas, the feelings, and the more emotionally attached you are to it, the more excited you are about the things that you have going on in your life and that you want to manifest, the greater the opportunity, the greater the chances, and the easier it will be for your subconscious mind to accept it. Subconscious mind is a really tough thing now. It's not super easy to reprogram. It takes consistent effort. And again, your emotional attachment to your new thoughts and new ideas greatly affects how quickly you're able to reprogram your subconscious mind. But that's the ball game. We've got to feed it what we want it. Garbage in, garbage out. Great stuff in, great stuff out. And with that, I'm going to end, because I'm right at the limit about where I want to be on my show today. So I hope something resonated with you today. If it did, play with it, do your research. And until the next episode, the next time we talk, take care of yourself. I look forward to talking with you all again very soon. Take care now. Bye.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.